So we all know the joke. It starts to snow and everybody runs out to buy milk, bread, and eggs. What happens? The memes about making French toast. Guess what? We're making French toast. Are you ready? So if you're anything like me, you've probably already got your cup of coffee. You may have even had one or two already. I mean, hey, this energy doesn't just grow on trees. But you're sitting there waiting for everybody to get up and you're like, gosh, I'd really like to make some breakfast. Well, what's the best way to get them out of bed but send some great smells upstairs? Gets everybody up, they come on down, and then you're the hero, at least for about 15 minutes while they eat. Next thing you know, nobody cares and they're off doing whatever they're doing. But cheers to you, breakfast maker in the house, because you know what? You're kind of cool. I'm gonna go ahead and get some equipment set up and we're gonna come right back and start knocking out some French toast. Okay, if you ask me, and even a bunch of our friends, you're gonna hear that Earl of the Pearl, my grandfather, makes the best French toast. Why? Well, because I make it, and my daughter makes it, and our friends make it, because their kids come over and they have it here. And then they go home and they're like, oh my gosh, we have to have this French toast. So anyway, his middle name, by the way, is Coulihan. Don't worry, I'm not giving you the password to my credit card. But Coulihan, how cool is that? So Earl of the Pearl came up with this recipe. He was a British man. We're making French-British toast. I don't know what you're gonna call it, but I'm gonna add a twist. So I like to add a little bit of banana in the style of like Bananas Foster to the top, because we're doing cinnamon, sugar, butter. We're not using maple syrup. And Bananas Foster kind of has that same wonderful flavor profile, right? You do a little brown sugar, cinnamon, butter, and so on. So cut your banana down the middle, and then just put them back together and cut them into like 3/4 of an inch pieces. These bamboo cutting boards make a lot of noise. But what we want is something that's very easy to fit on the fork. Okay, so once we cut the banana, I've got another one peeled down here. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it up real quick too. We're gonna pop these into a pan with about a half a stick of butter. All right, so burner on. We're gonna saute these gently. We don't wanna break them down and pulverize them. I want them to be big and chunky. We're gonna put them on top of some big, thick Texas toast. So it's big on big, right? No small flavors, no small anything, okay? So we're gonna let those saute just a little bit. Then we're gonna go ahead and gently stir them, add the cinnamon, add the brown sugar, take it off the heat. Then we're gonna prep some sausage. We're gonna get the bread going. And see, look how cool this is. This is like Texas toast stuff, right? So we've got nice thick cuts of banana. We've got nice thick cuts of bread. This is gonna be a hearty meal. If you eat more than 2 of these, you're probably in for it, but we'll talk about that afterwards. So I'm gonna get my banana sauteing, gonna get started on my sausage. We're gonna roll back into this French toast here in just a second. Okay, you can hear my bananas cooking. Everything's simmering lightly. We're gonna knock you down just a little bit. Perfect. These don't need to be cooked beyond anything other than just a nice warming. We're gonna add about a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. I'm using a wooden spoon, so when I go into the corners of the pan, I'm not gonna damage the banana. Try to break up any clumps. You could do this with dark brown sugar if that was your choice. What you're gonna find when we finish the French toast, it's gonna have a nice golden brown color. It's gonna have cinnamon on it, so it's gonna get a little bit darker in color because of the cinnamon. So we want a nice lighter version for the bananas. It's gonna contrast in color, contrast in flavor. We're gonna add some cinnamon to the bananas as well, but it's not gonna be nearly as much as goes on the bread. Okay, so what we have here, as you can see, is just a nice, light, consistency, thick, kind of in a gravy format. We're gonna let that simmer a little bit more. Start with about a half a teaspoon cinnamon. We can always adjust it up. Can never adjust it back down. Let you get going here. All right. Once that's fully incorporated, comes back to a simmer, we're just gonna set it aside. I'm gonna switch over to a little flat top. We're gonna cook some sausage and we're gonna cook some French toast. So while this is warming up, I'll get ready to get my French toast going here too. I wanna talk a little bit about the bread. So French toast really is ideal with a bread that's going a little bit stale. I know that sounds contrary, but we're adding moisture to it with the egg and the milk. We're gonna add some great flavors with the cinnamon, the sugar, and the butter. So the bread doesn't need to be the freshest. It also helps it holds its shape and character a little bit. It absorbs more of everything else if it's a little bit dry. So bear that in mind. The other nice thing about this specifically is that this Texas toast is cut extra thick. So we're gonna have a really great way to hold on to a lot of those flavors. When you start using those thin grocery store breads, maybe that light bread or whatever the case is, the center of it is going to just fall down on you. And as you pick them up, they're gonna get very, very unstable. Some of the juice that we create with the butter and the cinnamon and the sugar is gonna roll off, which is fine. But man, this just looks so good. You can use an Italian bread. You could use a brioche bread. Just keep in mind that brioche has a lot more sugar and butter in it. So when you're cooking it, you're gonna have to do it on a slightly lower temperature so you don't take it too far. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and crack some eggs. I normally will do 1 egg for 2 pieces of bread, but when you're dealing with this thicker bread, I'm gonna go ahead for 4 pieces, I'm gonna do 3 eggs, just to make sure I don't run out. You know, eggs aren't expensive, so we just need to make sure we have enough. And then I'm gonna add equal parts milk. So it's not an exact measurement, just do it with your eye. It's not gonna hurt anything. Mix it together. Now it's funny, I used to put the cinnamon in the egg, and what ends up happening, it all kind of collects together. You gotta stir it, and stir it, and stir it, and stir it, and I'm like, I just need to make this easier for myself. So, this is it. Nice little egg mixture with some milk. If you're trying to watch dairy, trying to watch calories, this is not the one to watch calories on. But if you're going dairy-free, you can simply use water. I use water all the time. We don't always have milk in the fridge, I'm not gonna lie. We go dairy-free a lot. So water in the egg, you're perfectly good. You can use a vegetable type margarine, you could use a plant butter, you could use all kinds of things. But the nice thing is, I can feel the heat. Listen to that sizzle. Who doesn't love sausage with breakfast? Okay, bacon eaters, I know you don't, I get it. But, man, nice little sausage patty next to a piece of French toast with cinnamon, butter, sugar running down. Crazy. Okay, we're gonna get these browned up on both sides. We're gonna come back, take them off, set them aside, kind of like we've got the banana. Do all your prep work, so when this French toast comes off the grill, you can eat it, because it's good. You don't want it to get cold. We'll finish these up, swing right back. Okay, sausage is gonna come off. Put these beauties right over here. I've got a paper towel at the ready. We're gonna wipe down our little griddle. Make sure you've got it set to about a medium heat, because the last thing you wanna do is have dark egg. All right. Come up here, got a little drip tray on it, clean up any of the extra sausage fat. One of the nice parts is, even though this is a non-stick skillet, that sausage fat's gonna help really make sure nothing sticks. But you don't want too much of it, because then your French toast will taste like sausage. Well, we already have sausage, so I don't really need to add that flavor to it. Drop you down there. Okay, so this is where it's go time. Quick stir. I've got sugar, I've got cinnamon, I've got butter pieces. I've actually cut up a little bit less than a tablespoon, ready to rock and roll. I've got my bread. Then I have the other half a stick of butter. I'm gonna come up here, prep the surface with just a little bit of butter. Okay, nothing crazy. This is a hotter section. We're gonna use that for something else here in a minute. So let's go ahead and put these here. Bring you down. All right, we're gonna use these 4 pieces. It's go time. Easy, ready? Plop, plop, shake, drop. Plop, plop, shake, drop. I don't know if plop, plop's the right word, but let me tell you, whatever gets the point across, I'm good. Best part is there's almost always egg left over. So when somebody comes down and goes, oh, I want an extra one, you got them covered. Okay, cinnamon. I'm gonna do this on both sides. So once we get ready to flip, it's flip, cinnamon, sugar, butter, serve. Got it? Cool. We're gonna watch these for a little bit of browning around the edge. We're gonna be on the ready to flip them here in just a second, then we're gonna do this. So one thing you're probably gonna wanna do is just check on them, right? Still got a little bit of that eggy color. You can see the golden brown starting to form on the inside there. Probably another 15, 20 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and flip these buggers. All right, it's time to do another check. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. You wanna check them in order. Oh yeah. So first to last, everything in between should be cooked. So if you have 6 of them on here, first, last, and you know everything in between is cooked. So we're gonna go ahead, get underneath here, flip, flip, flip. Man, look at those, golly. Can you see that color? Look at this. Look how perfect that is. Okay, so you remember the order now? Cinnamon. Don't ask me to measure. We just sprinkle till it feels good, right? That's the stuff. Okay, sugar. Gonna go with a heaping teaspoon on each one. Just spread it around a little bit. This is what becomes your syrup. So none of that bottled maple syrup stuff. We're not really French in this house. I don't think maple syrup's French either though. Didn't somebody in New Hampshire or Vermont come up with that? Maybe Canada? Don't know. All right, now I like 2 butters on mine. Okay, you may like more, you may like less. This is just how I make it. It goes well. They do stick together when you pre-cut them. Just letting you know. Okay. Now we want to turn it down just a little bit because we don't want it to cook too fast on the bottom side. Remember, now we've heated this entire thing from the other end. Now we've got to give it enough time for the butter to melt. So it's got to sit there and relax for a little bit. We're also going to take our little banana delicious Foster topping, put it over here on the hot plate. It's still warm. This is just going to make sure that it's perfectly smooth and luxurious when we go back onto a plate. So everything is right here together. This is it, guys. Like, this is not hard. This is my grandfather's French toast in the easiest way humanly possible. If you don't own one of these little griddles, you will now, because this is how you make this stuff. We'll come right back once that butter's melted, plate it up, and then I'm digging in. Sorry, guys. I get to eat this. You don't. Okay, when you see the butter is almost completely melted, you know it's go time. So what I'm gonna do is grab this one. Be careful, stuff on top is hot. It's gonna run off a little. It is okay. It gets on the plate and tastes even better. All right, we're gonna do that. Now we're just gonna come over here, rock a little of this on top. There goes the butter. Beautiful. Run a little down the side. And then what it does is it kind of creates this cool dipping sauce. I mean, when you put maple syrup on your pancakes, you don't just put it on top of the pancake. It kind of gets all over the plate. So that's what we're doing here. We've got 3 beautiful pieces of sausage. We've got some wonderful warm bananas and brown sugar, Foster style, if you will. Didn't put the alcohol in there or the vanilla because it doesn't need it. These are great bananas, butter, light brown sugar. You're off to the races. We've got some of that syrup that we've created on top with the cinnamon, the butter, and the sugar, finding their way around on the plate. Now all you need are some bodies. So if they're not awake and they can't smell this yet, hey, guess what? You get to eat it yourself. They don't get any. That's all there is to it. If there are people asleep, put your oven on 200, keep it nice and low, warm, place them in the oven. They'll hold for quite a while. So if people are still asleep when you're cooking because you're up at 4:15 like me some days, it's okay. You can make it and put it in the oven. I wouldn't leave it there for 4 hours. But please enjoy this, right? So Earl the Pearl, Mr. Coulihan himself, my grandfather's English style French toast. That sounds so crazy to say it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure you check out our social media handles. Obviously, all the pictures are going to go on here. If you happen to make this, please tag us at Bearded Home Cook. We'd love to see what you're doing with this stuff. Let's make sure we engage. Let's have some fun. And don't forget, it's your turn now. Are you ready?